Oh, this equipment costs 10,000. Can we agree on 7? What else is included in your offer? We need to discuss it internally. By the way, is the warranty included? Why not? Then I won't buy anything at all. Yes, you know this type of client well. Hello, I am Serhi Verus, a sales and negotiation coach. And in this video, I will talk about the types of difficult clients and what to do with them. Let's start with the main question. Why do clients behave problematically? I should note that the reasons can be due to us or not due to us. The main reason on our part is that we do not know how to work with a difficult client. It often happens that a client leaves or is skeptical because they had a bad experience. They don't believe because they might have been let down before. And here is the question. Do you know how to work with such a person or not? For example, take an average family. There is a teenager who resists everything possible. No matter what you tell him, his response is always, I know. And no matter what he says, parents still need to know how to communicate with him. Clients sometimes behave like teenagers. The question for you is, how effectively do you conduct negotiations? Do you know everything? Of course, in life, if you have, for example, 100 leads, about 30 of them will never buy. And in that case, it's better not to invest your energy. Because the skepticism there is so high and the level of awareness is such that it's better not to waste your time. From the perspective of buyers' psychological maturity, 30% out of 100% are at the level of teenagers who think they know everything, are ready to buy for 5 kopecks and want it immediately and for yesterday. And another 40% are those same adults with whom you can work. If you have different statistics, share them in the comments. It's interesting. Now let's talk about reasons that are not because of us. Well, for example, the client's company changed its strategy. They ordered a marketing strategy, but then decided not to promote this product at all. And of course, they ignore you. Well, why would a client waste time explaining to you that they won't buy? Because, for example, they have stopped developing this product. Or if there is trust, they will tell you what other reasons are not because of us. First, the person got sick and simply does not respond to you. Secondly, they said they would buy but didn't because, for example, someone offered it for free and you are just a backup. Third, the contact person genuinely wanted to buy from you, but their manager already made a purchase from a friend or another company. And of course, your contact person doesn't want to tell you this because it's uncomfortable and easier to ignore than to explain all of it. But if you look back, you might find out that you are being compared to competitors. Therefore, there is a very fine line between whether it is because of us or not that the client speaks out and why they behave skeptically. But how do you find out why someone doesn't want to work with you? Well, maybe that's a question for you. So you are left only to think that he is skeptical or toxic. Don't you want to know why they are not buying from you? Your manager requires you to record in the CRM system why this person did not make a purchase. Or if you are a manager, you require this from your salespeople. And if you, as a manager, say that you are being ignored, not being told things, or not getting answers to your questions, it means that you are not trusted. So the question is whether you can create an atmosphere of trust and whether you have the communication skills to uncover the reason for the refusal. Of course, I must say that I am not a Superman either. Sometimes in 2 to 3 cases out of 10, I fail to find out the reason. The client does not answer the phone from any number and does not want to talk at all. This happens too. Let me give you an example from my experience. One of my clients is a company called Video Production, which creates explainer videos costing from $3,000 to $20,000 for the US market. These are animated videos that explain the workings of a complex product. And then this client sends me a recording of a call with a representative of an American company. The video studio tells the client that 180 seconds costs $8,000. And the client says, give me 195 seconds for $6,500. Per second, $65, $60,500. And the client asks me what to do, how to sell to him for $8. When we started listening to the call, it turned out that we don't know who influences the decision making. We have identified the video, the product and its advantage, studied the market, but we do not know who influences the decision making. So, if a person says that it's too expensive, where are they getting that from? Secondly, we didn't find out what the person is comparing it to. And when I listened to the recording of the conversation, it turned out that we spent half the video talking about how great we are. why it is necessary to buy for 8,000 while the client was explaining why he wants to buy for 6,500. And it turns out to be like a ping pong game, a sort of subtle conflict. The conversation was very polite. And then comes the refusal, because it's hard to say no face to face. So what should we do then? Find out directly in the conversation why the client wants it for 6,500. If the client says that this is their budget, then where did this budget come from? You can ask directly like that. Who determines the budget? How did it happen that something worth 8,000 is expected for 6,500? Where did the client get this from? This needs to be identified, not assumed. For example, if you don't buy the video, what will the client do? Can this be found out? For example, they want to fit some trigger points into 3 minutes, but why exactly these trigger points? And who determines this? The marketer. If he is not on the call, will he be the one to determine the budget? If you are not a marketing agency, I hope you have also experienced situations where the client was squeezing you. Or I hope that hasn't happened. If everything is fine with you, you can close this video. It could be that the salesperson didn't find out where such a budget came from. Who makes the decision and what must be included in the service for the client to say yes? Additionally, the client may not see you as an expert, or for example, you may behave insecurely even though you are an expert. The client somehow thinks that you are not much of an expert. And then there's the budget issue. So how can he avoid putting pressure on you? Well, how about that? Of course, he will push when there is a weak spot. So the question is, why did he think that you are not an expert? Is it because, for example, you don't have many case studies? Sometimes people buy without case studies, simply because the seller speaks well, is confident, and has undergone training. Okay, so what is a difficult client? What types are there? The first type is the uninformed client. He wants to buy what he thinks he needs, but if you look closely, he doesn't really need it. For example, you understand the client's business better than the client does. And they are like, I'm paying money here, so give me a strategy, a video, post, a website, business cards, bread, sausage, and everything as a gift. But in reality, he just needs to set up the website or make a single delivery, because he needs one thing, but he tells you about everything he wants, and he doesn't know his priority. And sometimes it happens that the client thinks they know better because they attended a conference or completed a training where they were told that all of this should be included. Or some well-known marketing expert explained how the company's packaging should look. But you, as a salesperson, as an expert, know that reality is different from the training. The second type of difficult client dictates terms to you and does not see you as an expert. They sit back and say, give me a guarantee, give me everything. They interrupt and tell you how to do your job. Maybe they are indeed more experienced. Maybe they have a stronger negotiating position. In any case, he holds the power. Therefore, he makes the decision. That is, he is the one who dictates to you, the one who determines your future in collaboration with him. For example, you are the 10th supplier, and accordingly, you are already in a disadvantageous position. You have already lost before the negotiations even begin. This happens. The third type of difficult client is the one who says, everything is fine, everything is okay, but problems arise while working with them. It turns out that you have sold the tip of the iceberg, and beneath it lies something big and complex. Then it turns out that you did not identify it before the sale. This happens in the sales of complex products, where there are many stages: creative, marketing, or in IT products. Such a client can also be a large company that purchases expensive equipment. First, they squeeze you on price during the tender. Then they delay payment for 60 or 90 days, and then they don't sign the acts and pay you 6 months later. It happens. And you have already invested, owed someone because, for example, you invested to buy this equipment, to make money with it. It turns out you didn't earn anything. In summary, it all comes down to simply knowing your client well. Then you decide for yourself whether to work with them or not. But how can you understand in advance that the client is problematic? First of all, who is an excellent, non-problematic client? Someone who understands how to work together. In other words, you both understand that you have a path to the goal. You know what you are doing, and he knows what he is doing. When there is Clarity, there will be no problems. So, what needs to be done? Ask questions to gain clarity. For example, uncover negative experiences and explore them. Of course, I remind you that you should not be conducting a survey, but rather asking interesting questions. If you are interested in learning how to ask engaging questions, watch this video. But the main thing that will help you identify a difficult client in advance is your experience. For example, an experienced doctor immediately sees what medications patients need. An experienced auto repair shop master can immediately tell what needs to be fixed on your car just by hearing one sound. So just stop watching my videos and start gathering statistics on difficult clients. Just kidding. First finish watching the video and then work on the statistics. In other words, you need to find the balance between the client being difficult and you not having done enough. How will you do this without statistics? Just be proactive. Right now, pick up the phone and call or write an email to the client. Don't know exactly what to write to get a response. Write your query in the comments or message me personally, and I will help you accordingly. And as a conclusion, I will say this. Remember that sometimes difficult clients help us improve. You become stronger. Firstly, your expertise improves. Secondly, you understand your problematic client so well that you will be able to recognize them next. At a certain point, you will realize, that's it. I won't work with such clients anymore. I have the experience, or it will be very expensive. For example, when dealing with my demanding clients who required a lot from me, I created additional materials and training videos and made extra live calls to show that everything was working, even though I wasn't paid for it. But when the time passed, I approached the next client, already knowing what to do. And I also had ready materials, video scripts, cases, and reviews because I had already been there. So to summarize, here's how to find your way out of the forest. At least once, get out there. And if you find yourself lost in the forest of sales and difficult clients, write to me and I will help you find your way out. Contact information is in the description below the video.